Hi everyone, welcome to Fearless Women Wednesday. I'm Christina, founder and creative director here at Femme, and today's guest is coming all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. Please help me welcome Krista Roser. Krista will be joining us momentarily. I just sent her invite. Thank you to everybody who's waving to us. I'm waving right back. It is so cold in the Northeast today, let me tell you. I am wearing the heaviest sweater that I own, trying to stay warm here. Hi, Krista.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm warm now. It's been freezing here in the Northeast today. I'm sure it's much warmer there in Tennessee.
Yeah, but it's still starting to get chilly though. Like the coats are starting to come out for sure.
It snowed here last night for a few hours.
Wow.
I was like, goodness gracious, I'm not ready for winter yet.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet. And we still have random days where like it's like 80 and then the next day it's like 40. So we're all over the place here.
Same here. So I'm excited to get you started with our Fearless Women Wednesday questions.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm so happy to have you as our guest today.
I know, me too.
So you've styled both male and female celebrities, predominantly in the country music industry. Previously, you styled Kelsey Ballerini, love her, Florida Georgia Line, Cassidy Pope, Ryan Hurd, and Tennille Arts, just to name a few. Where do you find inspiration for each gig between styling clients' looks for red carpets, editorial, music, and tours?
Well, there's lots of different things. First of all, I try really hard to make sure that all my clients' looks are very unique to them and very personable. And I just want to take like their stories and their music and create a look that kind of goes along with that. So it's definitely a collaboration between me and them because I want it to be them and not just somebody dressing them.
Of course.
So that's why like all of my artists are so different. Their vibe is so different. I don't want somebody to look at somebody I dress and say, oh, I bet Krista styled that person. It needs to look like that person. And that's really important to me.
Yeah, I agree with you. Staying to their authentic self and having them feel confident in what you dress them in and having it feel like a second skin for them and they're wearing the outfit isn't wearing them. Super important.
Exactly. And it's an extenuation of their brand and who they are and like whatever it is that we're doing. So like, you know, if we're in a music video and it has like a different kind of vibe, it still needs to be them, but also like maybe play the character that they're playing in that or what kind of, you know, inspiration that they're wanting to like show.
That's so fun. Was there a specific moment or interaction that empowered you to become a stylist?
Not necessarily. I've always worked in the fashion community in different aspects. Like I've never not worked in fashion, to be honest. I started in like working with brands, with like in their corporate offices. And like back then there wasn't really celebrity styling. Like that's somewhat of a newer career. So when I graduated college, it wasn't quite a job yet. And so we actually had, people's publicists would reach out to our publicist for our designer and would set them up just to come into our showroom, and I would help them pick out their clothes from our sales showroom actually, and different aspects like that. So it worked a lot differently back then. So I kind of done it for a while, and then from there I went into like fashion editing for a magazine. So I did it from the editorial side. And then when I moved to Nashville, I noticed that not as much celebrity styling with like brands and creating brands from a visual standpoint wasn't happening quite as much. It hadn't reached here quite yet. And I kind of just wanted to do that. And so it's basically what I've been doing. Yeah.
I'm so glad you did because you're so amazing at it.
Oh, thank you.
And it's true. You know, I graduated FIT in 2006, 2007. I did a few different courses. And I think it wasn't until like the 2010s or a little, later where celebrity stylists became more of a thing versus working with the different fashion houses, like you said.
Yeah, it's so true. I lived in New York in 2006, so that, yeah, it's about right.
What was the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
I probably hit snooze and then I go back to sleep for 30 minutes to an hour. I don't know why I always set my alarm like an hour before I actually need to get up. It's just a habit. But then the next thing I do is make coffee.
Same. I always press snooze and I try and wake up 15 minutes earlier every day and it just never works out.
Yeah, I am not an early riser at all. And especially this year when I'm not traveling as much or not having as early call times as we have in the past, it's a lot easier to sleep in this year than ever before.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that you worked with early on in your career who you learned the ropes from?
I think from everybody that if you don't learn something from everything that brings you to where you are, then I don't know what you're doing. But yeah, I learned something from everybody I worked with along the way. I didn't actually assist like a lot of people get started assisting. So my path is a little bit different. But I think it's because of like my starting in New York and then working for actual corporate offices that I learned different things that way and then kind of took them into styling. And then I also worked in retail for years and years and like personal styling and shopping. And so like a lot of that just kind of goes into this as well.
Okay. How does your individual perspective as a woman shape how you pull together looks for female clients versus your male clients, and how do you stay true to their personalities when you're creating the different looks?
I think it depends on like the event and like what it is that we're doing. I feel like I don't ever have a client that just like says I'll wear whatever you tell me to wear. It truly is like a collaboratory thing, and we kind of chat about things, and I get how they're feeling, and obviously, to be honest, my men are just as vocal as my women are about what they want to wear and not what they want to wear.
That's so fun.
Yeah, but they're all kind of equal. It's really strange. They're all kind of the same but different in different aspects. So it just depends on what it is that we're doing, because carpet vibe versus video versus performance, all that is they're all different. So.
And do you keep lots of shoes on hand when you're doing this, or do you pull from different showrooms and different brands as needed?
Both. I keep a lot of like what we call kit items that I have for different clients and their sizes, and then some just in general, but also tons from showrooms and designers as well. But yes, I mean, right in front of me is like cases and cases of shoes right now.
Same here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we all know the little black dress, but in your mind, what are the staples that every woman should have in her closet?
You need to have a good heel, a good flat, a good like basic sneaker that you can kind of dress up, dress down. Mm-hmm. You need good shapewear. You need a couple pairs of good jeans. I love a non-iron white Oxford shirt, because you can do so many things with that. I actually buy men's because I like the oversize.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just your basics.
I like that. I was doing a photography shoot last week and we had ordered a new white backdrop and it was so wrinkled and I was steaming it forever. And I was like, this is ridiculous. And then finally I found one that was wrinkle resistant. I was like, this is like my husband's shirts. Everybody needs that in their life.
A game changer. I worked in menswear for like 7 years and I learned about non-iron shirts back then and I can't go back. Like they're the best.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you've discovered about yourself in a broader sense since you've started your career in styling or in fashion in general?
I think, again, you should probably learn and evolve as a person no matter what you're doing. I definitely feel like I'm more fearless. There's so many situations we're put in stylists that you're kind of just figuring it out as you go, more than a lot of people probably know. Mm-hmm. I've learned to MacGyver really well. Like you're in a situation where you've got to figure something out in like seconds and you just like make it work. I don't get scared or nervous as much in certain situations because it's just like, okay, I just got to do it because there's no way failure's not an option. So you just keep looking forward. And I think I learned that more than anything.
I love that. I'm going to include hashtag failure is not an option.
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
Not an option.
What is the best career advice that you've ever received?
Never give up, work hard. I know it sounds just so typical, but it's so true. I'm trying to think of something else that one person. A lot of people say never to say sorry, but I'm the world's worst at still saying sorry, but just always do better. So
I know. I feel like sometimes as women, especially if we say sorry, we look weak, but you know, I like being polite in most circumstances.
I'm from the South and it's just me being courteous first but I will definitely do better, you know? Always learn from your mistakes and look at everything as a learning moment and then just do better in the future.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So how has your work-life balance been traveling back and forth between Tennessee, Los Angeles, New York, and especially overcoming travel bans during the pandemic?
Well, this year I haven't traveled at all. I've literally not been on a plane all year, which is crazy because I'm so used to being on a plane multiple times. But I'm going on one for the first time tomorrow, and I'm so excited.
Oh my God!
I know. I screamed when I got the text message the other day that I was finally getting to travel again. I never knew I'd be so missing it. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Work balance life thing has always been kind of a struggle, especially the last couple of years when I was traveling like crazy. This year, I definitely have been able to focus on my home life a little bit more than I have in the past, which has been nice. It's like that's one of the perks of this year. But it also taught me how much of who I am was wrapped up into what I do, which is something that I've been working on since figuring that out.
Yeah.
So that's technically probably not healthy. But I miss.
Sorry, my eyes tear a little bit of like I'm crying.
I miss it. I miss juggling like a million different things at one time, because that just comes so naturally to me. So like when I get too if I get too still, I feel like something's wrong, which I don't know if that's probably not a good thing, but that's just the way it is.
I feel the same way. If I sit down to like watch a TV show or watch a movie and disconnect, I feel like, what am I doing? Like something's wrong, you know? Like,
yeah, I can do that sometimes, but if I do it too many days in a row, then I'm like, okay, I'm forgetting something. I'm missing something. There's something I should be doing and I'm not. Like,
yeah,
I get stir crazy.
It's really hard to separate, but it's good to try and balance for sure.
Yeah, it's an ongoing thing that I try to do.
What is the scariest thing you've ever done?
I've been put in some scary situations with styling that like in the moment you just like again go for it because failure's not an option. But looking back, you're like, what the heck did I just do? And how did I just pull that off? I've been on top of a frozen mountain trying to run in the ice to get out of a shot because there's a drone and I'm in charge of like taking like clothes off somebody for the shot, and so I have to run and hide behind boulders and
oh my gosh,
dive. I've got a scar on my knee from that trip, but it was an incredible situation. But that was actually kind of scary because I could have really hurt myself.
Yeah.
In certain situations, but it worked out. I just have a cool little scar with a story now.
Do you have it like behind the scenes footage when you had to do that?
They may have some. It was it was for a music video in Iceland. I got to go to Iceland, which was cool. But yeah, it's just a cool story now, but looking back it really was like intense. It was intense on my body. I was freezing.
I can imagine.
But my adrenaline went crazy. Like, yeah, it was nuts.
Iceland looks beautiful, and I mean, you should definitely post something as like a throwback to that whole experience. I
I
think
wish
that's really cool.
I wish I had like a picture or something. I'm sure they do. I need to reach out to that director.
You should, totally.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a time where you were starstruck?
I think the first time I ever got like the really big butterflies in my stomach was when I was really close to Beyonce. And I just like froze and just stood there and acted like a statue so that I wasn't in the way. In my worker black, backstage. I think that would be my biggest. And when Faith Hill talked to me one time, I was down putting a shoe on my artist, and I was just down on the floor, and she looked down and she wanted to like shake my hand from the floor, and I'm like, I'm sorry, the girl putting the shoe on the foot, and she goes, well, that's a very important person.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh my goodness. My friend Kelly, hey Kelly, if you're watching, we went to FIT together, and she said she actually became good friends with Faith Hill since she moved to Tennessee, and she works on, she's like the creative director of set production for different shows, and she actually did Kelly Clarkson's new show.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, she's a lovely person, and she was super sweet, but it was just kind of an awkward first meeting,
Yeah. Hey, I've been down on the floor lacing up model shoes before they go on the runway.
Yeah, I spend more time on the floor than I do standing upright when we're backstage. It's fine.
Yeah, it is not above me. I'm
No.
all for it.
No, I sometimes have knee pads. No, I'm just kidding.
I wish I had knee pads.
Oh, I actually used to keep that, that pad that, planters have, like, for in the garden? That knee pad thing? I used to keep that in my kit, actually.
I mean, it makes sense if we're down there doing that right. All right, so it's quite fitting that you say fashion is a way to express yourself without saying a word. We follow the same mantra, designing luxury shoes that allow women to express themselves without sacrificing style for fashion, and all the comfort features built in. Do you feel that great statement pieces can set the mood for the entire day? And do you gravitate toward pieces that are both functional and fashion forward?
Well, being a stylist, obviously, I still have to look somewhat professional in the situations I'm in, but I also have to be able to run around and do lots of things. So comfort is number one key, but obviously you still want to have like style and a vibe because you want to express yourself. So that's definitely important. So like if I'm going to wear a sneaker, it's kind of a fun sneaker, or I'll try and do like a thicker soled heel if I'm working like at an award show or something like that. If I'm not allowed to like, again, dive on the floor and do what I got to do, then I probably won't wear it, but I still want style when I do that too. So I like to take like those things, but make them kind of cool and funky.
I love that.
Yeah.
What has been your greatest form of escapism so far during the pandemic?
I feel like I'm constantly in search of that because with not traveling, I gain a lot when I travel because I always like make time for museums or going and checking out different sceneries or things, and I haven't really had a chance to do that this year, and I feel like my brain is striving for it, like wants it so much. So I found like different things you can do, like I did a lot of tours online with different museums around the world, like
cool.
the Russian art museum that you can like follow online with this like really cool video with these like expressionistic dancers in it. It was really cool. I've done some virtual travel things. I've dove into different, like I've read so many books this year that I normally don't have time to do. Any kind of story, anything beautiful, anything aesthetically pleasing, I'm definitely like looking for it. And just going walks outside. Generally during the fall here in Nashville, it's like gorgeous, but I'm normally traveling a lot during this time frame, and it's also one of our busiest seasons for award shows, so I'm really busy. But this year, I actually had time to go on lots of hikes and things like that, and the leaves, and it was just stunning.
It's definitely also a form of meditation when you're taking in beautiful things and it kind of like strikes you in that sense.
Yeah, it's 100%. I mean, I'm a very visual person, so I need photos, video, like things like that. Watching old movies is something that I do for inspiration and just to like escapism, like a world where attention to detail and class and dressing was like such an art, and you know, like things have gotten so casual in our world and so fast. That was a world that I love to escape to sometimes, back when like things still mattered more than they do now.
Yeah, I hear you for sure. So now that travel is starting again, where do you think you'll take your next vacation, and how does inspiration strike you during your travels?
My list of where I want to go is large, but obviously this year is probably going to push me being able to travel for fun for a while, to be honest. But I mean, Marrakesh is like high on my list of a place I want to go so bad. I don't know when that'll be, but we'll see. I also try to like add like a day or two or a trip like onto a work trip if possible. So we'll see what next year brings. Since I primarily am in the music industry, we're a little bit longer affected by this, because until touring happens again, we're still majorly affected by
Yeah,
COVID. So hopefully, you know, that's going to happen sooner than we think, and we can get back to some kind of normalcy. But
I hope
yeah,
so too. I think
yeah,
we all hope so.
I know. I mean, production starting back is really good and exciting. I'm glad they're figuring it out, but that's really only probably 1/3 of the business that we do. So yeah.
All right. So what is your best on-camera advice?
Well, definitely learn good posture. Definitely practice in the mirror, like how you like sit, stand, your facial expressions, things like that help. And just confidence. Just own it, whatever it is.
I love it. Oh, okay. What is something you're proud to say is behind you?
My 20s.
I love that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I feel like looking back, I spent a lot of young years worrying about things that didn't really like probably matter as much. And I think that that would be like something like, it's not really as big a deal, and just keep going forward.
Definitely. I mean, for sure you learn a lot in your 20s, but that's what they're for. They're there
Yeah.
to discover yourself. And then your 30s, you're just living life and you're feeling confident and you're who you are. And I completely agree with that.
Yeah. And I'm now even closer to 40, so that's a whole nother situation.
Well, you do not look it at all. You have a beautiful baby face.
The cheeks.
Yes, for sure. And that Southern charm. What are 3 things that you can't live without?
Coffee. Probably more coffee. No, I'm just kidding. That's a tough one too. I feel like that changes on a regular basis. Some things become more important than others here and there. I'm also a Libra, so that's always going to be my answer for everything. Yeah, I mean, obviously family, friends, making time for those 2 things are really important, and I'm finding are even more important than maybe I took for granted in my 20s or when I was younger. And then, yeah, my dogs, you know.
What kind of dogs do you have?
They're 2 rescues. They're little. One is like a poodle terrier mix, and the other is a Pomeranian long-haired Chihuahua. She's a mess.
Oh, so cute. I definitely
Yeah.
have to take a look and see photos of them. We have a French bulldog, Stanton, and he gained some COVID weight. So he's like a 35-pound French.
Mine are currently on a COVID diet right now.
I definitely have to look into that because
Yeah.
I can barely pick him up anymore. It's like, no, you have to sit next to mommy. Sorry. On a day when you're holding a client fitting, what does that process look like, and how does pulling different looks from the red carpet appearance to a live appearance, how do the looks differ from a red carpet versus a live performance?
So when a person comes for a fitting, a lot of times they try to put as many events into one fitting as possible, obviously. So hopefully we're fitting for more than just one event, but sometimes it's just one. But now I have my own studio and office in Nashville. So it's really easy now for my clients just to come to me versus me having to like go and load everything and unload everything at their place. And they come in, and I have our racks, you know, all set up, color coded, organized. There's a whole shoe section color coded and organized. And then I normally have like some inspiration stuff or photos of like mood boards and things that I've made that I project onto like my television screen. And we can kind of sit and talk about things. Or if it's something that we're doing, like a music video or a public appearance or something that has creative that we need to sit down and chat about, then we chat about that. And I kind of talk about what visions came into my mind. And then we kind of look at like what their favorites are. And then they start trying on, obviously. And then I style those looks as we're trying on, like as they're on their body. Red carpet versus appearances. It kind of depends on the carpet and the appearance, but obviously we're doing more gowns or tuxedos and suiting for carpets most of the time. Whereas that's not always the case for like a music video or a TV appearance or something like that. Performances are also always different depending on what the artist likes and doesn't like. I have some artists that there's only certain types of shoes that they like to perform in. I have other artists that are cool with anything. It just kind of depends. There's a lot of other things with live performances that you have to think about, like we add mic packs to different outfits so that there's a place for the mic pack to go and it looks nice and you don't have that big bulge black thing on the back. And then I put little hidden slits for the wires for the ears to get hidden in the back so they don't have all these wires back behind them and stuff for shots to make it cleaner. There's lots of little different things like that a lot of people don't know about.
That's cool. I've never, tricks of the trade. I love learning all of these things and hearing your process.
Yeah.
What's your number one style hack?
I think that's a loaded question. There's lots of different ones, but I did just go over, I had a fitting right before this with a guy, and I showed him what shirt garters were for the first time. So they like help keep your shirt tucked in like a suit, like all day long.
Wow.
I just found some new ones that I like better that like attach to the bottom of the shirt and then they attach to the top of the sock. So they go down the leg.
Wow.
And it's way more comfortable than the ones that have to go like around the crotch area.
Yeah. That's crazy, but really interesting.
Yeah. And then, wait, I wrote down a couple that I didn't want to forget because I feel like those are always in the moment. I also love, when I do a hem on a guy, I love a slanted hem. So I love my hem to be a little shorter in the front and longer in the back. So it like lays over the shoe really well. Yeah. That's a little trick that I do that not everybody does. Tailoring is the most important thing you can do. It can make something very inexpensive look very expensive or you can have something super designer and if it's not tailored properly to you, then it looks like garbage.
Yeah. I don't want to look like a frump.
No, unless that's what you're going for. I mean, Hailey Bieber's making it popular, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But not all body types can pull that off, so.
Of course.
Yeah.
Who is your style icon and have you had the opportunity to meet them yet?
I feel like most of my personal style icons are deceased and not around. But I take a little bit of things off of different people and I go through moods during different years. Right now I'm kind of into like some stuff in the 80s and I'm doing a lot of research and I rewatched Dynasty again and all kinds of stuff. I'm always been a huge Katharine Hepburn fan. I love taking menswear and making it cool for a woman. Yeah, that's just me personally, but that doesn't necessarily go into effect for like my artists and stuff like that. It's really important that my personal style isn't involved with my artist style because again, that needs to be very authentic to who they are.
For sure. Okay. Has there ever been a time where there was a wardrobe malfunction last minute and were you prepared to fix it?
When is there not? No, I'm just kidding. It happens all the time. I can't tell you how many times, but busted zippers happen. It happen like you always need to be prepared for that. So I had one artist in general that has had a tendency to bust through zippers like crazy. So I always had a tailor on hand for her events. Because it literally happened almost every other time. And there wasn't anything we could do. We changed zippers out. Like we did no invisible zippers and only did like the really good heavy duty zippers on everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was, but she just busted through zippers like crazy.
Wow.
So there was a lot of last minute sewing into garments situations. And we would use like clear thread and stuff like that. And so we would literally have to cut her loose when she'd have to go to the bathroom or get changed or whatever. And then I had one time a guy was getting out of, I just so happened to be in the car with them, but they were getting out of the car and they hung their hem in something and it got pulled out. And I didn't even have enough time to just like stitch it really quickly, even with my like pre-threaded needles. Like I needed something faster and I had to MacGyver the situation again. And I just had I had some super glue on me really easily. And I just like took it on my hand and spread it around the hem and just patted it and got him out of there in like 2.5.
Oh my God. Were your hands stuck together or did you wear like
together?
Were your hands stuck together or did you wear
No,
like a glove?
It's that E6000 stuff. And so on your skin, you can just rub your skin together and it just kind of flakes off.
Oh, I have to look.
Yeah, it's the stuff I keep in my kit. It's also the best stuff when putting like Swarovski crystals on stuff, which is why I have it.
We use Swarovski crystals, genuinely only Swarovski crystals, but I mean, our factory uses some kind of glue, so maybe they use, I wasn't certain what they used to apply them.
Yeah, we do hot fix. I love hot fix first, and then, but then also sometimes you just gotta add some added stuff, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do hot fix too, but then sometimes they're stitched on like encased crystals that you can't use the glue for.
Right, right.
Do you have a backup career?
I think the minute you feel like you have a backup career, then you feel like failure is an option, which isn't for me. So I think that like my path in this career is always an evolution and evolving as it goes. I'm open to different things to evolve. I think our opportunities in our industry is constantly changing, and every year brings and takes different opportunities away. So I'm open to evolving in different ways, but I don't necessarily like have a if it doesn't work situation, because it's not going to work, because failure is not an option.
I like that. I'm going to have to check that one too. Failure is not an option. I feel like this is an inspirational interview. I love it.
Well, I think too, like I've never been handed anything really in life. I don't come from like really like extravagant means or anything. Like I'm from a small town in West Tennessee, which nobody has ever probably really worked in fashion from, nor is it a common thing for somebody to even leave our town to go and do something different. So, I mean, I've literally worked my butt off just to get to where I am, so I'm not going to go backwards, you know?
Exactly. You deserve where you are, and you deserve to move forward.
Thank you.
How long does it take you to choose your outfit in the morning on a somewhat normal day? And do you choose it the night before? And are your shoes chosen first or last for the look?
So, I mean, in all honesty, or at least a lot of the stylists I know on a regular basis, we don't actually dress up very often unless it's a certain event. Because I'm in yoga pants more than you know. So I just switch out sneakers based on which like yoga pants and sweatshirt I have on. But it depends. Sometimes I get hung up on a certain item that I have, and so then I do the whole outfit around that item. Or I like challenge myself. I'll go into my closet and I'll just like look at something and pick it out, and I'll be like, okay, well, you're gonna make an outfit with this right now. Like, just figure it out. So it just depends. But shoes are always important. I have so many pairs, and I try to like use as many of them as possible so that I'm not just wearing the same like 2 or 3 all the time.
Yeah, it's good to have them on rotation, not only for like your mood, but for your hips and your knees, and you need to different heights on different days.
Yeah, and then if it's been a while since I've wore heels, I'm like, I need to wear heels today, or it's gonna make it even worse when I have to wear heels for something.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. To get your arch used to it again.
Yes. I'm
For
not gonna
sure.
lie, this year's kind of messed that up, but I've tried to wear them when I can so that it's not as much of a torture later.
Oh God, I hope it's never torture in our shoes.
No, actually, yours was so the ones I wore today and yesterday, so freaking comfortable.
Oh, that's amazing to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, we build them for comfort, so when I hear women say that they love it and it was comfortable for them, that's incredible.
It's literally the only skinny heel shoe that I've been able to wear all year. So.
Oh wow.
Mhm.
Success.
Yeah.
How do you usually unwind from a hectic day?
Well, I'd be lying if a glass of wine wasn't included in that scenario.
Yes.
I generally like to escape away from whatever's in my head because I also like being a business owner and in the type of hours that we pull and like we get text messages about work or emails about work at all hours. So it's kind of hard to turn it off sometimes, and I can constantly be doing checklists or thinking about somebody's look or ideas like all night long. And I know that, like, again, when trying to find balance, like that's not necessarily healthy for me. So I try to get lost in something that takes my mind completely away from it. So whether it be a movie or a book or a TV show, it needs to generally be something I don't really have to think too much about.
Mm-hmm.
And I can just get lost in it. That's
I love that.
kind of normally what I do.
I need my husband to hear this because he's like, you need to stop. You need to take like a step back. And I'm like, this is my life. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
Shoes
it's
are
tough.
everything.
Like last year, especially, I live by myself, so I don't always have somebody like telling me that kind of stuff. So it's good that you have somebody that reminds you of those things. Yeah, it's tough to turn it off sometimes, especially when what you do is also your passion, because
Yeah.
it also gives you so much that you don't really necessarily want to always turn it off, but it is healthy too. So there's that. I also have really good friends that sometimes I'm just like, I have to come over and just like get away, you know?
Yeah.
And then they help turn it off as well.
That's good. I love just catching up with my girlfriends and like taking some time to do that because it's important for us to socialize and, you know.
For sure. Yeah. When like back in normal world, when I was like traveling like crazy and maybe only had like a day or two here, one of those nights I would always make it with like a girlfriend or something to like because I had to. Like I was like, you can't just like be at home or at the office those 2 nights if that's the time you're here.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I can't wait to see my girlfriends.
I
don't know when it will be. Once.
Hey,
sorry. I was like,
what happened?
I was like, oh God, this happened last week when I was interviewing Natalie from France. Her internet connection in Bordeaux was really, really slow. So even her imagery like was super shoddy. And I was just like, no. And 3 times the call dropped, but I didn't want to lose the interview. So I just waited patiently.
No, it said that my temperature of my phone was too warm and it had to cool off before I could use it. And I'm like, that's normally like when it's out in the sun. It makes no sense.
That only happened to me once in Palm Springs in California when it was like 118 degrees that day.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Ever since I've done the update, I've had so many issues. So
Apple update. I can't deal with them.
Updates just keep messing us up.
All right, so we only have one question left.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
But it's the most important.
Okay.
What advice would you have for those who want to become a celebrity stylist or a wardrobe stylist in this industry?
Intern. I would also do your research and find out what we actually do, because a lot of people think it sounds like so fun and would be so cool. But it's actually one of the hardest jobs ever, and it's high intensity, long hours, not always a lot of thanks, to be honest, with a lot of what you do. So you need to know and be ready for that before you can actually do it. That's why I also like get it, like try and intern, offer, like do whatever you can do to just kind of put your foot in the door. But you also need to realize it's going to take a really long time to get to a certain stature. It's taken me years and years and years. I've been working since I was 14 years old in the retail community. I'm 37 now, so that's lots of years. And I meet so many people these days that feel like they can just like be an assistant or be an intern for like a year and then get to do what we do. And it just doesn't work like that.
Right.
I had, 20 years in our industry before I went out on my own. So there's just a lot to it that a lot of people don't necessarily know about.
Yeah. I was designing for other shoe companies for 15 years before I launched my own brand. Yep. And then I still have consulted for a few other companies while doing this, and it's really important to learn the ropes and intern tons of places and, shadow people, if you will, to learn how to really deep dive and kind of
I literally
embrace
clean bathrooms in a place just to be in it once. Like, do whatever, be willing to do anything, and that nothing can be beneath
you.
Because it's not even beneath me now. Like, I would clean one of my artist bathrooms if they asked me to. I mean, I don't know. Like, you just do what you got to do,
Exactly.
Yeah. And, like, if you're doing, also to get into this, I know there's this whole, like, influencer world and stuff now. And there are some stylists, obviously, that are. I haven't chosen that path. It doesn't come naturally to me. And it's fine for the ones that do. But to be honest, like, I don't think getting into this world to be famous is going to actually work that much. There's just a few that are able to kind of pull that off. And some celebrities don't want to work with people that choose to do that. So there's different ways to go about that too. So
I actually want to ask you one more question.
Okay.
What are you looking forward to most in the coming year?
More work. Travel.
Yeah.
More work, travel, more opportunities. I feel like I went from like going into this year with so many like exciting things that I wanted to work towards and goals that I wanted to work towards. And like, it really ended up being a year where you're just kind of trying to survive, because too much growth was kind of you couldn't have that high expectation,
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm going to try and work on some of those goals I had for this year for next year, and then also just keep trying to strive to grow and do more, and but more, I want to get back to some sense of normalcy.
I think we all do. Amen to that.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here today, Krista.
Yeah, thank you.
It was fabulous.
You're going to be talking to some of my clients soon, and I can't wait to watch. Yeah.
I'm so excited. We have Tennille Arts coming up on December 2nd, and she has a voice like an angel. And I literally like froze and got the chills watching her sing on Instagram when she sang "Sweet Child of Mine." I had like goosebumps all over.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Her song just went into top 20 this week, which is super, super exciting.
Oh, that's amazing.
Her first one to get top 20, which is a huge deal. So
that's a huge deal. Oh, I'm so happy for her.
Yeah.
And hopefully we have Cassidy Pope coming up too. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. I talked to her team soon, so we'll see.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I am going to have this video up on our IGTV by 3 p.m. And thank you again for joining us.